Welcome everybody to the Wizard and the Priestess. Today I'm very excited because I have Deb Gibson with
Hello.
me. Insert applause emoji. Ooh. So Deb's one of our naturopaths at True Woo, and I wanted to get her on, ask her some questions, hang out, and jam.
Let's do it.
Okay. So just so the listeners can get to know you a little better, how have your background influences and viewpoints on everything we talk about today, how's that shaped you as a person? And can you share an overview of what has shaped you as a person and what led you to putting so much time and study into what you do today?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. So I am a Canadian trained naturopath.
You're Canadian.
Yeah, like totally.
Do I not say, I don't say American, do I?
No,
No,
you're good.
good.
And yeah, so the study to be a naturopathic doctor in Canada is pretty full on. You do your undergraduate degree in one of the sciences first, and then you go on to do another 4-year full-time post-grad study. In terms of, I guess, what led me down that path, I like some people that go into health and healing have a real story of like unwellness that precedes it, and then they get into it due to their own healing journey. That's not my story. Mine was more simple. It was just like I knew I had a passion for healing, and I am a little nerd at heart, so always like loved all the sciences. But I just couldn't, I didn't know the right profession for me, when I was doing my biology degree. I'm thinking, is it like, medicine, TCM, physiotherapy, genetics, optometry? And I didn't even actually know naturopathic medicine was a thing. And the second I found out about it, I was just like, that's honestly what I've been put on the earth for. I like knew it in my gut. I think it was my first real strong intuitive like hell yes that I remember feeling, and just went for it. So finished my undergrad, went on to do that, and have just really had my passion for what I do has just kept evolving as I've worked. So I feel like now 20 years later I'm like more juiced about what I do than when I started, which is awesome.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, it is really
Is
good.
it similar training to Australia?
No, in Canada, it's a regulated profession. So if anyone in Canada says that they're a naturopathic doctor, it's like, they've all done the same study. It's the same. You have to do residency. You have to do board exams. It's like a medical degree. And you get, your doctor status at the end. You can prescribe even, we can prescribe from a list of pharmaceuticals if we need to. Whereas here in Australia, there's quite a lot of discrepancy between like different naturopaths have different training. It's not a regulated profession, so there's a large variation. And here in Australia, it's not considered a medical degree like it is at home, just because it's a shorter degree. It's not like
it's
7
interesting
years.
because I know osteopaths in Canada are the same as medical doctors.
Yeah, same. So osteos, chiros, and naturopaths, we all have to go through med school there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's a bit different here, but it's like it's still great to work in either place.
Is there a difference in working with patients from Canada to Australia?
I never ended up, I left on a plane to be a little gypsy traveler from right when I finished my study. So the only practice I actually had was in my year of residency. Yeah, and then I, just went and got on a plane and decided to go to a billion different countries and ended up here. So I didn't actually practice there.
Nice.
I imagine it would be quite similar though.
Yeah. Of course. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know you do more of the functional specialized medicine stuff.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
Sure. So in functional, so when we refer to functional testing or functional medicine, it involves doing, I guess, just different types of tests that aren't classically done in conventional medicine, where we just look, the way I describe it to patients is like, I'll look into like different compartments of your body, because by being a health detective and doing this specialized testing, we can look at, like, yes, blood work is super important and we always need to start there, like looking at bloods. But, you know, sometimes the urine can hold the answer, or stool, or breath. So there's so many different types of functional medicine tests that we can do. And even when we're doing just like normal comprehensive blood work with patients, not just looking at it through the lens of like, all right, this is what we want your value to be. Often in standard medicine, the medical range of normal is quite wide. Whereas when we're thinking about like health optimization and functional medicine, it's a much tighter window. So with the wider window, it's like, it's good that conventional medicine is looking at that, because they're trying to just prevent disease, right? So it's more just about like, let's make sure you're not going into kidney failure or liver failure, or having like, you know, metabolic acidosis or something that's going to shut your system down. Whereas the way I work, like, no one's coming in to see me for, you know, acute medical emergency. That's not my forte. It's like, that's what standard medicine is beautiful at doing, right? It's like, if you're having a heart attack, don't see a naturopath.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but like in terms of when someone comes to see me and I look at their bloods, it's like, yes, you know, you don't have kidney failure and you're not diabetic and you're not suffering from liver disease, but we can still see if the kidneys aren't working optimally. We can see if there's traces of fatty liver or issues with detoxification. We can see if the nutrient levels are not just fully deficient, but even just suboptimal. And often by like finding, you kind of put the picture all together and tweak all of those individual things, you can get really profound change in people's health.
Do you find there's a huge nutrient, what am I saying? Nutrient
Deficit?
I guess the individual's required nutrients. How much would that vary person to person?
Oh, massive. There's there's so many layers to that. Like, what's interesting is, you know, you can have someone come in that is like on a full strict vegan diet and they've been vegan for like 20 years. And everyone would make assumptions about that, right? Like, oh, they might not be healthy. But, you know, I can have vegans come in, their B12 is perfect, their iron's amazing, their zinc's incredible. And then you can have people who, you know, are eating a carnivore diet and they might be like a bit low in iron or low in zinc. So sometimes diet doesn't match the nutrient profile, which is why it's always really good to test and not make assumptions. For some people, it's their gut isn't working right. So their absorption, they might be eating beautifully. They might be putting the right foods into their mouth. But just because it's going into your mouth doesn't actually mean that your gut is absorbing it properly.
Are you trying to say mouth?
Did I? Yeah. I don't know what words I'm saying right now. But yeah, it's like there is a lot of variation, but sometimes it's not just dependent upon the person's diet.
Sure.
So it's like if someone has leaky gut or they have maybe an overgrowth of like parasites or bacteria, they might have other things that are impacting their nutrient absorption. So even though they think they're eating all the right things, it's not ending up in their system properly.
Yeah, I've found stress and fungal and or parasite infections.
Yeah.
Like 9 out of 10 people
Right.
have some sort of infection.
Yeah.
And as you said, they can be eating the perfect diet for them, but they're not absorbing it. The little creatures, critters, I believe you call them.
Or, you know,
Yeah.
lots of different names.
The little things inside us, they eat the food, and we actually don't get the food, but we get what they poo out
Yeah,
and create mycotoxins.
totally.
And then that influences the function of the glands and the organs, and in my experience, particularly the prostate. That's
yeah.
really highly susceptible to fungal infections.
Yeah, glands, like hormone secreting structures, glands are, like all endocrine structures, are so susceptible to toxic exposure, to like, you know, the environment, to whether that's chemicals that we eat, breathe, you know, taken through our skin. And, you know, there's so many different hormone secreting glands in our body. You've got, like, you know, some people it's their thyroid that's going to act up more, and another will be their prostate. It's almost like I think 10 people could be exposed to the same thing, but how that manifests will be quite specific to that person's.
We've all got our subconscious strategy.
Yeah,
Right.
and our genetics, like our genetic weak spots based on what we've inherited.
Actually, that's a question. It's not on my list, but I just thought of it. What percentage of patients, ratio-wise, would be genetic, diet, lifestyle, and say structural?
Well, structural, that's when I send them to you.
Right.
And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Go see Magic Hands in the next room. That answer would depend on the condition.
Sure.
So it's like, say a woman comes in with osteoporosis or osteopenia. It's like 70% of that is determined by genetics. A woman can be.
Does that typically show up at a certain age that you've found?
Yeah. It's so osteopenia, which would be like a reduction in the bone density, and osteoporosis is when it's like fully declined into the disease range. But our bone health as women is so intrinsically tied to our estrogen balance. So if a woman has any state that puts her in a long stretch of estrogen deficiency, and she's predisposed to osteoporosis or osteopenia, without the estrogen there's not as much stability for the bone, and there's an increased rate of bone turnover. And that could, for most women, you'd see that more coming in through like late perimenopause when the estrogen starts consistently sitting lower. For sure in menopause, when a woman's no longer having menstrual cycles, because then there's nothing to drive that real flux of estrogen. Like, she'll still make some, but it sits at a lower level all day, every day. Or women that are underweight, so that could be through malnutrition, anorexia, bulimia. If they're sitting at a low body fat percentage, then they will have a lower estrogen level, and it will shut off their ovulation. And I've seen young women that are in their 20s with diagnosed osteoporosis because of eating disorders.
Yeah.
So it is about age, because classically our estrogen doesn't get that low until we're late stage perimenopause or menopause, but it can come early if a woman has sort of, if she's in some state that's making her, or other conditions, like if someone's on corticosteroids for a long time. But yeah, I guess, or if a woman's like overtraining, it might not be an eating disorder, but if she's, really pushing it with, say, training for a marathon or some sort of like endurance.
Marathon on CrossFit, I see all the time.
Yeah, the body fat gets so low, and it's kind of like a cool thing that our body does. It just feels like we don't have enough fat to sustain a healthy pregnancy, so it just like pulls the ripcord and goes, we'll just shut up, that hypothalamic pituitary message just shuts down ovulation.
Yeah.
Which can be fully reinstated once the body fat comes back.
Well, it's a survival strategy from the body.
Our
What would
body
you say
keeps
the
us
ideal body fat is for men and women, percentage?
Oh, gosh. I feel like I should know that number, and I just
I
don't.
think for a guy it's around 10. I think for a woman,
would know this more than
it's
me.
about 15%.
Just get some.
Ish.
I'm actually like, that's a number I should know, but I don't know it off.
But
the
it's
top of
also,
my
it's
head.
how it's measured. Because I know when I did a lot of strength training school, that's a thing. They taught us how to do with the calipers, like the body fat sites, and they measure certain, for around the umbilicus, it's insulin. Up around the armpit or the axilla, it's more androgens. But then you go to a doctor, they'll measure it another way. You go to someone else and they'll measure it another way. So it's how it's determined as well.
I've never even thought of that.
But also, I've found that to the degree someone's dysregulated, they're going to short circuit other systems to feed that system, feed the biggest deficiency, but then they're left with headaches or knee pain or whatever your strategy
So
is.
you see that at work too?
All the time, yeah. I've just found once people are stressed or they're in pain, they go into a survival mode. So then certain hierarchical systems will kick into place, and that's where the check work is really good, because he's come up with a system of, well, what's the most important thing the physical body can do? Breathe.
Yeah.
So it'll sacrifice whatever it needs to get more oxygen in. And then it goes down from there. But then the
There's
symptom
like a
shows
set
up.
hierarchy in terms
A
of
set
body
hierarchy.
systems.
So there's first of all, there's the psyche, because your mind is the builder.
Yeah.
Then you could argue that the emotions take you to where you want to go and away from what you don't want. Then from a physiological point of view, it's breathing, jaw mechanics, eyes, ears, the vestibular system, the upper neck, because that's the goalkeeper to the brain.
Yes.
Then the viscera, which for me ties in with the emotions. Then it's the pelvis. Then it's the spine. Then it's the what you call slave joints. So you
Yeah.
everything from C3 down,
Yeah.
essentially. But most people show symptoms in the slave joints.
Yeah.
So you look for these higher other systems, but then what you're talking about systemically is the body's trying to find its own.
Yeah.
Do you use the word homeostasis or
Yeah.
allopathic?
Yeah. Yeah.
Either or.
Yeah.
Balance point.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's all the same.
Yeah,
It all
exactly.
means the same thing. So in Czech, do you guys start at the periphery and work in, or do you start at the like high point and go down?
I think every practitioner is different. I look at the body as the person's story and like almost like a map.
Yeah.
And then from there it shows me what's going on in the psyche and how the story they tell themselves is usually the feedback loop that reinforces the thoughts and the
Pattern.
behaviors that their body's holding on to. Then you add poor diet onto that, you add poorly designed exercise, life stress,
Not enough sleep.
and all of that.
Yeah.
And it just compounds. And then but they might not recognize that consciously. They just wake up with a headache one day,
Yeah.
or they feel anxious all of a sudden, or a sore knee, or
Yeah.
they do a disc in their back, or it can show up anyway.
Yeah.
But that's typically what we would see daily
Yeah. Cool.
with that.
I like that approach.
So if there is such thing as a typical client for you, I know that's a broad term,
Yeah.
what's the most common reason people come to see you?
Ooh, gosh, that's a hard one. Like, imagine me asking you that, right? It's like
That's why
it's
I'm asking you first.
hard. It's like, oh gosh. I'm gonna split it into two. I'm gonna say the classic woman that would see me at work would have 9 times out of 10 she's got some sort of hormonal imbalance.
I mean, who doesn't, right?
Yeah,
By the
but
time they
those
get to us.
those are their words that they're using.
Ah,
So
okay.
it's like they're seeking my help because I'm known to be really great with hormone imbalance. So in their mind, whether it is that or not, they're coming in usually for something hormonal.
Is it specific, or they just say hormonal?
Oh no, they'll usually come. Usually the people that see me at work are usually quite well researched.
Okay.
And they normally have, which is great because they come in with their own theories, their own insights. They've done, quite often they've seen other practitioners. They'll usually have a stack of tests that they've had done in the lead up. So they're quite often coming to me like,
So they haven't Dr. Googled themselves.
sometimes yes, but sometimes it's that they're on just a healing journey and they haven't quite found the right, or they just need a new person for the next chapter.
Sure.
And so that could be, it kind of just changes through the age range. So it might be, PCOS I see a lot of, and thyroid stuff in the younger girls, or endometriosis. I do a lot of work with women that are, they've had their babies and they're just feeling a lot of exhaustion and like their bodies just aren't behaving. And maybe they've gone to the doctor and the doctor's like, no, just take some iron. And they feel like that's not a sufficient answer.
Yep.
I'll see a lot of women that are more like in my age range, like in their 40s, and that's when the chaos really starts kicking in, because often the burden is greater in the woman's world during that time. So often the kids are, things are full. It's like work is full, they're working full time. They might have aging parents. Things with the kids are, just busy. They're juggling a lot of things, and in the background their hormones are starting to transition in that sort of perimenopausal fashion, and that's where the weak spots will come out. So they'll either start getting their headaches or their migraines or their mood swings, or they might be getting heavy periods or painful periods. They might be having, metabolism shifts where the weight that they've always been able to keep off isn't staying off, or their sleep's getting disrupted. Usually it'll be some combination of things, and they come into me just saying like, I don't feel right. And quite often it will be like, I've been to my doctor, they've because they'll say my hormones feel out, so they'll go to the doctor, and the doctor will be like, no, your hormones are fine, and they're left maybe with a prescription for like an antidepressant. And it's like, no, this woman isn't depressed. Usually that's not the first thing. It's like her system just needs so much more support and nurturing than she's been, giving it or receiving. So yeah, helping to navigate that is really like a joy for me, helping to support women through that.
It's funny how women are so much more proactive.
Yes.
Guys has to be coming in with his arm half cut off. Like,
right?
Oh, something hurts.
Yeah, it hurts. It's like, oh, that's because it's actually you've severed off your limb. Yeah. No wonder it's in pain. But so that would be the classic woman, would be there's a story of hormonal dysregulation and things in her body are just falling apart left, right, and center. And she's really wanting to just like be well so she can be there for herself, but also serve her family and her workspace and her relationship. And often there's a frustration within them that they are like, I'm doing all the right things, but I just don't feel well. So I can go in and do the extra investigation to figure out, what like, we can't fix it all overnight. So where are we going to begin?
What do you mean?
Yeah. And then with men, so I get a lot of referrals through say men's mindset coaches, or like men that come to see me are usually working with a man already, whether it's like the business coach, the mindset coach. They're in this space of like optimizing their health already. And quite often they are proactive. They're listening to podcasts, they're listening to Andrew Huberman. They're wanting to do a bit of biohacking. They want to understand their biochemistry better. So it's a very different profile than the woman that comes to see me. Often they're quite well and they're looking to optimize. So they come in and they're like, I've heard about all these tests. I've been listening to all these podcasts from the States, and I want to do them, but I don't know how to do them, and I don't know how to analyze the results. So with them, it feels more like play. It's like, right, let's go shopping. So we go shopping in the catalog of like, what do you want to find out about yourself? Whether that's DNA testing, cardiovascular risk profile testing, a lot of gut testing, might be stress hormone testing. And and then they're very data driven, the men. They love seeing the numbers. They want to retest. They want to see how everything is changing over time.
So they need that objective.
Yeah, they need feedback, that. They want that objective data to know if what they're doing is working. And so it's often led by biomarkers. But the fun thing with working with them is I get to kind of weave in my conversations around, relationships and intimacy and emotional things. So they'll come in thinking they're just going to have their, fibrinogen, homocysteine, and lipoprotein A and B tested. And then they left it being like, oh my God, I'm so excited to go home and talk to my wife about like X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys are master suppressors.
Yes.
And guys can, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've seen is, at least hormonally, guys will bash themselves into the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And then after several decades, this thing's starting to hurt.
Yeah.
Where the woman will be, no, something's off.
Yeah.
Get it checked.
Get it checked. Yeah, definitely.
The guy's got too much to do in his own story. That's where the story is.
Yeah.
But a good analogy I heard years ago was, guys are like dump trucks. They can work. You can work them to the ground.
Yeah.
You can bash them up, and they'll still keep going.
Yeah.
Women are more like Ferraris.
Yeah.
They can do finely tuned machine, yes. But they need regular maintenance.
Yeah.
Where guys like a Toyota, it'll just need a top
going.
Up here and there.
Yeah, an oil change once a year, and off you go.
Off you go. But then they won't know anything different until the wheels fallen off.
Yeah, so true.
So.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So I'm a Ferrari and you're a dump truck?
Yeah, now.
Or do you want to be a Ferrari too?
Now in this conversation, I've kind of regret that analogy. We can edit this out, that's fine. So, The subject of microbiome.
Mm-hmm.
It's become popular more so, what would you say, 10, 15 years?
Yeah, even more so in the past 5 years, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's really accelerated in the last couple of years, especially since COVID. It's
Yes.
gone crazy.
Yes.
So, can you share? And I know it's a very individualized thing, but could you share a naturopathic approach to correcting or repairing
Oh,
one's
yeah,
microbiome?
definitely. So, yeah, so if I've been in practice now 20 years, the concept of stool testing and using the findings from stool results to guide a gut healing treatment protocol is something that's, that's not unique to me at all. That's just as naturopaths, we've been using that for a long time. But I would say when I started practicing, like people are always like, "What?" Like, it was not something that they'd really heard about. They trust you, so they go along with it, and then they feel better and they tell their friends. But now it's like people are coming in, and
For
they're
that.
yeah, like
Yeah,
they're
right.
coming in and they're like, "I'd like to have my microbiome tested, please." And it's great because people are a lot more well educated into different aspects of the body
I
than they.
would, if someone said that to me, I would, as a joke, get the gloves out straight away.
Oh my gosh, I am going to start stocking gloves
Yeah.
at my work and just keeping them really
Yeah.
close at
Yeah.
hand. Yes. Okay,
You're welcome.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, so there's quite a few different types of microbiome tests. And and it's like in each of the different high-end ones, there's different pros and cons.
Sure.
And it's not like you're going to do a $600 one and then a $500 one and then usually it's like people have the money, they want to spend it on one. So I have access to a few different ones. There's one that I really find most helpful because I find it has like the broadest amount of information. So it'd be just shy of $500 for people, and we can see so much information in it. So it'll bring back like 8 pages of data. So first thing, if someone's coming in, and it will either be that they're asking to get their microbiome checked, or it will be that they're just speaking the language of someone whose gut is so out of whack, right? They might come in just saying, I've got a long history of constipation. I've had all the investigation done. I've had the colonoscopy, endoscopy. Things aren't, I just can't figure it out. This has been very long standing. Or it might be someone that was always fine in their gut until they had some sort of a gut crisis. So it could have been, they were traveling and they got, Delhi belly or Bali belly, and they were overseas and they got really unwell, and they'll say that they've never been well since. Or it could be that someone's just had bad food poisoning from, their local takeaway place, and they've found out that they've had like E. coli or salmonella. So sometimes it'll be a chronic issue, which is they cannot remember ever having been different. And they'll often say like, "Oh yeah, my mom's the same or my dad's the same."
So it becomes normal for them.
Yeah, and they're just used to it. Or it'll be someone who was like, "No, I used to be fine." And then there was this like turning point. So whatever the background was, well, or it could also just be someone that's like, I'm getting a lot of bloating. I've tried the low FODMAP diet. It feels like it didn't really do much. I've tried gluten-free. It hasn't solved. Maybe 50% better, but not all the way. Like often they're coming in, they just don't feel right. Or interestingly, sometimes it'll be that their gut isn't actually speaking loudest, but that their nutrient profile is just unusually low, or that something feels off. And that'll be more when I say, I know that you're having regular bowel movements, so you don't seem to be struggling with bloating or reflux or constipation, but there'll be something else in their history that might lead me towards it. Or interestingly, there's some conditions which don't present in the gut, say like endometriosis, but it has a strong link to a bacteria called like fusobacterium. So it's cool, you can kind of see more in the uterine lining, but you can see it in the stool. So anyway, you do the poop test, 8 pages of data. It comes back with like, is the person getting enough fiber in their diet, and are they getting the right breakdown of short chain fatty acids? Is there inflammation in the gut? You can see with a marker called calprotectin, which is a really great biomarker. You can see like a liver detox a marker, which ties in with a thing called glucuronidation. You can see if they're absorbing their fat well, if they're making enough pancreatic enzymes, which help breaking down all the food. It'll go through a full panel of about 10 different types of yeast, like all the different strains of Candida. Candida albicans is the most common one, but some people are negative for Candida albicans and have a different type of Candida or geotrichum. Then there's a whole stack of pinworms, threadworms, tapeworms, all the classic parasites like blastocystis and Dientamoeba fragilis. It'll look at all sorts of opportunistic bacteria. So those are the ones that are okay to be in the large intestine at a small amount,
Sure.
but they're not supposed to be there in a large amount. So like no one's large intestine is sterile. That's where our feces is being formed. So there's supposed to be a diverse range of bacteria in there. There's certain strains that you go, that's okay if it's a bit of strep or staph or Klebsiella or Klebsiella pneumonia. It's like, that's okay as long as it's within a certain range.
Sure.
And so with that microbiome testing, you can see if it's gone into that excessive level. And then it does all the really important pathogenic bacteria, which are like Yersinia, Giardia, Salmonella, E. coli. And those are the ones that are also tested for when a doctor says that they're doing the stool test. So if a doctor's like, oh, don't do the naturopath one for 500, we can do it for free. It's like 8 pages versus 3 lines is not the same thing. So yes, it is great. And the doctors want to, will, you know, check for parasites, ova, cysts, and the really big pathogenic bacteria. But a person can come back having a very normal result there and still have a lot of gut dysfunction, which you can see on the microbiome test.
Yeah.
And then the next part of the microbiome would be like all the beneficial bacteria levels. So all the good ones that we take in our probiotics, like Lactobacillus acidophilus, Rhamnosus, Plantarum, Salivarius, and then all the bifidobacterium strains, it measures all that. So it's like they poop, mail it off, I get the results, and then I go through all that data to figure out like what's not working right in this system. And usually the way to fix it will most often be like a part 1, a part 2. You can't do it all in the one because there's like a sequence.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, first you've got to like make sure that if there's any bad bacteria, viruses, yeast, anything pathogenic, it's like you've got to kind of like you support the gut first so that when we do the next step, which is the breakdown, the gut's ready to handle the toxic exposure of the dead bugs being killed.
Yeah.
So it's like prep, kill, support. You know, the last stage is when we re-inoculate with the good bacteria.
Yeah, I know a lot of guys I've worked with, they wanted, you know, guys are like, they just want to do it. They want to nuke it
Yeah.
first and then,
Clean it
I'll
up later.
take it. But that's actually really dangerous to do. And I had one patient years ago who went on I suggested a heavy metal detox.
Yeah.
And he went 0 to hero
Yeah.
with it. And he actually almost died.
Oh no.
Just way too quick.
Oh wow.
So these things do need to...
So-
I mean, it took potentially decades to get them to that point.
That's right.
One treatment or one thing isn't going to fix it.
No, not at all.
No.
Yeah, you can do, and that's our first thing, right? Like, do no harm. So we always have to be so
for some people, I won't go into that.
mindful of that. Yeah, that's really full on.
And I know the Ascaris worm likes females more because of the estrogen.
Yeah.
Is there a quick tip you could give to someone who would have a worm, suspected worm?
Well, first is speaking to the estrogen. So some women will never, like, because all women have, you know, a certain level of estrogen
Sure.
that circulates in them. But when you see that a health condition comes up alongside more like estrogen excess issues, that like say a woman goes, I've never had worms before, and now my bleeds are heavier, my PMT's worse, my menstrual periods are more painful, and I've developed worms. It's like, okay, yeah, kill the worm, but ultimately you have to help support that woman's estrogen metabolism because that's just gonna
Yeah.
that potentially could keep just happening every cycle.
All the time.
Yeah, classic one I see more than worms would be candida, like vaginal thrush,
Yep.
where women will say, some women will get into a loop where they'll have vaginal thrush for like 2 weeks out of every 4 weeks. So when, from ovulation until 2 days before their period, they just have this constant, it's awful, like reemergence of it. Then when their flow comes, it kind of washes it out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and it's not about like, oh, you need to just treat the candida every month. It's like, no, we actually have to work on your estrogen excess, which also means supporting the liver, because our excess estrogen is metabolized through the liver.
Yeah.
So it's liver work, estrogen work, interestingly also gut work. So there's one marker that comes up in the microbiome test which directly links to estrogen metabolism. So it's called beta glucuronidase, and if that level's high, then we know her glucuronidation pathway is not working effectively. So it's one of what we call the phase 2 liver detox mechanisms. So if that's jammed up and beta glucuronidase is high, then that woman will start displaying, she'll become estrogen excessive, not even necessarily through more exposure, but just because the out passage is blocked, so it bottlenecks.
Yep.
So in that case, you treat the beta glucuronidase to get that pathway opening. It flushes out the estrogen, which then helps things like worms not come.
Yep.
So it's
So it's basically altering the environment that they're attracted to.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's cool. I know I learnt years ago a quick candida test that if you spit first thing into a glass of water and it strings down, that's a sign that you've got candida.
Oh, like first thing in the morning?
Yeah.
So what do? You just get a glass, you spit into it?
Wake up, spit, leave it, I think it's about 30, 45 minutes, then see what the spit does. If it stays on top, it's fine. But then if it starts developing strands down to the bottom of the glass, that's usually a positive for candida.
How interesting.
Doesn't say what candida, but
yeah, that's okay. You kind of treat them all the same anyway.
yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
And you reminded me of a client who recently went to Vietnam,
Yeah.
and he got the Vietnamese version of barley belly.
Oh.
But what we found out, prior to him leaving, he only ate essentially about 6 to 8 different foods his entire life. That was it. So he goes overseas, eats completely different bacterial profile.
Yeah.
It ended up poisoning him.
Oh.
So he had a real bad reaction. And what's happened is actually scarred his liver. And his psyche has actually interpreted that as chronic anxiety.
Oh, gosh.
So that's just an organ, mind, body connection.
Yeah, right.
How it can play out.
So what did you do to help him?
Well, firstly, we had to work with his liver
Yeah.
and get rid of the scarring in the liver and clear out all the cystic ducts to the liver.
And you can do that just like manually?
Yeah. And I don't have access to the fancy testing. That's why I send them to you.
Yeah.
But I teach people to read their poo,
Yes.
and you've got to know what's in the bowl. Like, you just have to.
In the bowl?
On the toilet bowl.
Right.
Or the bush, wherever you go. I don't judge. So different poos tell you different stories, right? About what's going on. And I've found the people who refuse to do that, not meaning to get too deep here, but the people that refuse to look into the bowl or the bucket or the bush,
Yes.
they're the ones that don't like looking at their own life.
Oh, for sure.
They're just so disconnected, they don't want to know about it.
Yeah.
And yet the very thing they need to look at is the very thing that's going to
Be their healing.
be their saviour,
Yeah.
essentially.
Do you ever see the opposite though? Like people that sit there and they want to and like
I've had people
their
send
health
pictures to me.
anxiety is so intense, and you just think, oh my gosh, like you're well, like just relax into your wellness, like stop searching for a new thing to fix.
I found that more with. Have you ever met someone who's always looking to heal something?
Yes. They
It's
see
like
me at work all the time.
It's like their ultimate spiritual journey. They can't be spiritual enough.
Yeah.
They have to oh, I'm going to do this meditation. I want to be able to levitate and connect with this, and just like too much for me anyway.
Yeah.
And they're the people that I just say, I understand you wanting to disconnect from the human to connect to spirit.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it. Or you are spirit,
Yeah.
being human.
Yeah.
You're spirit a lot longer than you are human.
Yeah.
So just enjoy the human part.
That's right.
Have a blowout every now and then.
Yeah.
It's like
Just be in your body and whatever that means, right?
yeah, and I'd teach people that, you know, the body's like a garden. It can handle the occasional party,
Yeah.
but the more parties you have, the more you're going to trample the flowers.
Yeah.
So, but it's about building that,
Gazebo.
well, that
in the
that
garden.
baseline, that baseline capacity, so they can handle all the naughty.
Yeah, for sure.
Things, yeah.
Increased tolerance, right? I always say that too. It's like the goal isn't living this like pure life where like no food that is non-organic shall ever pass these lips, or
Shall
I
not pass.
don't drink alcohol like ever, or like there's like it feels like for some people there's and for some that is because their disease condition
Sure.
would. So I'm not speaking to that.
But I mean, if you're in a disease state, sure,
Yeah.
you can have that 100%
That's right. But
view.
for someone that's just like well and healthy,
Hmm.
it's like I don't want, I hope for them that they don't have fear around having a glass of champagne with the girls
Hmm.
or having a nibble from a cheese platter, like provided that they aren't.
Hmm.
It's like, of course, just to be able to live and know that what you're doing the majority of the time is setting you up. So as you said, you can handle it.
But even for me, so I would say to someone, if you're going to do, early in my career, I butted my head against the wall. No coffee, no alcohol, no this, no that. I've changed somewhat.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, if you're going to have coffee, by all means, here's how to have it the healthiest way.
Yeah.
So have organic coffee, a little bit of fat with it.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. If you're going to have alcohol, have organic alcohol.
Yeah.
Cheese, organic cheese, preferably raw if you can get it.
Yeah.
But there's a way to do the wrong thing right.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
For
It's all
sure.
about balance. Now, I understand you have a course. Is it a course, would you say?
Yeah, it's a program coming up,
Program?
like an online. Yeah.
You were in a divulgatory mood.
Oh yes, very much.
What would you divulge?
So it's a 6-week online perimenopause wellness program. So I've designed it for women that are, in theory, they could be anywhere from late 30s to early 50s. As perimenopause would be like the transitional hormonal time where you're past your reproductive peak, but you are still getting periods, whether that's regularly or irregularly, that's okay. Full-blown menopause is when a woman hasn't had a period for a solid 12 months.
Okay.
So it's like, we call it graduating into menopause. We throw a little party. It's like you have to have not had your period for a full 12 months. So if you're, it could be that the woman's 41, still having totally normal on-time periods. It's just that they're getting more heavy, more painful. She might feel more erratic mood. Or it might be a woman that is 51 and she might go, oh, I get periods every 3 months. I don't know when they're coming. I'm starting to feel some night sweats and I'm feeling a bit of low mood. It's like that's all different flavors of perimenopause. So this 6-week online program is for women to join who just want more support in terms of helping to understand like what's happening in their body. So there's a lot of education in the program in terms of like why all of those things are happening with sleep, sex drive, mood, periods, metabolism. I go through all the sort of sciencey reasons why those things are happening, and then also give a lot of support in terms of like different natural strategies and holistic ways that we can help to support ourselves well as women through that time. There's obviously a big community component of it because the women are getting to connect with other like-minded women that are going through the same thing. And in that 6 weeks, every Wednesday, there will be like a 90-minute Q&A session with me where, I just open up the floor where the women can ask me any questions in each. So there's like the 6 weeks, the 6 modules, and within each module, there's a few different lessons, just going through the different things around like the nervous system or hormones or nutrient levels and energy and sleep and adrenals and et cetera, et cetera. So they'll go through that on their own, and then in the 90-minute Q&A they can just fire their questions about what's specific to them, and I can help support them through that. And at the end of it, there's going to be like a little bonus seventh week with a nutritionist, a lovely woman called Gia Stewart's coming on to do a perimenopausal nutrition week, so that'll be great.
Is this an online or in person?
Yeah, all online.
All online, so anyone can
join. Yeah. So I obviously have people back in Canada that will be joining, and then most of the patients that I see here are in Australia and New Zealand, so that'll be where I'm guessing most of the women will be coming from.
Very cool.
So that's online. To access that, you go to www.deborahgibson.com.au/rise. So the program's called Rise Perimenopause Program.
So we'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah, I'll pop it in the show notes, and they can check out more information for it there, and hopefully it speaks to some women out there.
I'm sure it will, no doubt.
Yeah.
It's much needed these days.
It's my passion.
Yeah, well, it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
So I mean, only good can come from it if it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
So Deb, as we come to an end, feel free to share any final comments, resources, contact information, or other services you offer as we close out.
Well, I guess you can check me out on Insta, which is Deb Gibson _naturopath. And if anyone's interested in working one-on-one with me, they're more than welcome to just go to my normal website where there's the book online feature, and you can book in for one-on-ones to see me there. I work, just normal work hours, either Zoom or in person. So if people don't live locally, then they're welcome to see me via Zoom. And hopefully more programs will get released over time. I think the next one I'll do after this one will be a menopause specific one. And I would also like to create one that's focused just on gut health, which would obviously be open to men and women. And possibly an anxiety support one, which I think would partner well with other modalities, because I think supporting the nervous system is best done with a team. Like your work would do so much beautiful support on the manual work in the body. Then I work on the biochemistry, and then having someone that does more of that breath work, holistic healing, therapy type.
I know some people.
Yeah, would be a nice
collab.
blend. So I've got a few ideas in the pipeline.
Oh, we should probably have a organic coffee and chat about that.
Let's do it.
Well, thank you, Deb, for coming all this way in
Thank you for
absolute
having me.
pouring rain.
It was a long 3-minute drive.
Well, I hope you get home safe. I have to go back to work. But
Thanks, Matt.
thanks for joining us, and thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.